On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Looking for a protein shake that tastes as good as it performs? Meet Rockin' Protein Max. Packed with 50 grams of fuel, it'll help you keep up when your day won't slow down. And because it's always creamy and never chalky, every sip tastes great. Even better, it's lactose-free and has 0 added sugar. It's not every day you find a protein shake you actually want to finish. Catch Rockin' Protein in the Dairy Cooler at a store near you. Rockin' Protein and Shamrock Farms are registered trademarks of Shamrock Foods Company.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Brush stripes and bright skies through the perilous fights.
The fake news tells me this is booing. Is that booing? Maybe. Come on, there we go.
Through the night, that a flag was still there.
Yeah.
Say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
All right, that's all we bought access to. Okay. I mean, you know what? If that's a boo, I'll take a boo. Politicians get booed, especially a Republican in a deep, stupid blue city like New York. Yeah, stupid blue in terms of its governance and the rest of it. And quite frankly, the way the political winds blow here. I actually did not hear mostly boos. It was a little bit of a mix. But that's kind of standard when you're a politician. Does anybody remember Let's Go Brandon? Hello? They had a code. It was F. Joe Biden. Wow, everyone's saying, let's go Brandon, right, Brandon? That became a national sensation. Everybody knew about it. Everybody said it, except the fake news. Well, congratulations to, well, wait a second. The Knicks lost. All right. My wife this morning was trying to find out who lost, who won. And I told her, well, San Antonio won. And she's like, where's the score? Where's the score? There's all these stories about Trump and the fights after the basketball. And somebody said this during basketball. And some basketball player rammed into Mike Bloomberg, stuff like that. There are all these sidebar stories, not that much about the basketball itself. But, yeah, I watched the last, 10 minutes of it. It can be a very frustrating game. However, you do feel like when you are, like you could English the way the ball into the hoop. Like your rooting somehow will influence play. That's at least how it's one of the things about soccer. You know, you seem to think that, that you can push the ball a little bit yourself, or maybe that's just me. So I'm glad he came. Jim Dolan, this is not a new thing for him. He's gone to 1 million Knicks games. Context and perspective, two things that the fake news and the dominant media hate. Giving you context and perspective. He's been going a game since 1975, for crying out loud. Bill Bradley, when Bill Bradley was dribbling on that court. What's the other thing? Hey, I don't know if this is actually great. We now know the names of the new astronauts. They just named a whole boatload of astronauts who are going to the moon. 4 of them. And the headline really is, well, let me do the real headline. NASA astronaut Randy Bresnik, who was a Marine. I know people who know him, but I never crossed paths with him. Colonel Randy Bresnik. An Italian guy named Luca Parmitano. Italian as in he's from Italy. He's a citizen of Italy. NASA astronaut mission specialist Andre Douglas. I think he's the, what do you call it? He's in the Coast Guard. And a guy named Frank Rubio. Congratulations all. The backup astronaut crew member is Bob Hines. Now, what a lot of people have noticed immediately, no women go, no girls allowed on the moon. Now, what is that all about? Because I know they have a lot of astronaut females. Like half of them are women. And this is the next big thing. And they're not taking any women. That's going to be, look, I'm fine with it. I don't care what your gender is, but that's going to be a bit of a thing on Capitol Hill. That's going to be a bit of a thing. You'll notice that there won't be as much support for Artemis 3 as there was for Artemis 2. I mean, as long as they're human beings, I'm excited. I'm a little bit surprised. There's an astronaut or two who I know of. There's Jasmine Mogbelli, who's actually from Long Island. Anybody remember Jasmine? Anybody ever hear of Jasmine? She went to Baldwin High School, MIT, and was a Marine Corps helicopter pilot. And she's floated around in the International Space Station and conducted all kinds of experiments. And she knows how to fly and she knows how to operate spacecraft. But she's not going, at least on this mission. What is the other big stuff going on? Maybe that wasn't a good idea to have a watch party in Bryant Park, a watch party on 57th Street, what the hell is a watch party? Watch it at home. Why shut down the street, have a bunch of, let's call them military-aged men on the street, drinking, hooting and hollering, yelling and screaming? I don't think that's wise. Have we ever had those things before? Go to a bar if you must. Go to a friend's house. Don't go to Bryant Park. You know, people knifing each other, all kinds of horrible things, jumping up and down on cars. Usually you see that when the team wins somehow, right? You know, especially in Philadelphia. Your team wins and you have license to riot for a little while. What is the other thing I wanted to do? Oh, yes. Look, I don't know if you find it as fascinating as I do, but Jill Biden is a very bitter, angry woman. Her book is out right now. It came out last week. It's like number 120 on the bestseller list. Now, that's unheard of for a book of this nature. Not caliber, but nature, of this providence, of this origin, right? Because, you know, it's a former first lady. She's a Democrat. Publishing industry is overwhelmingly Democrat. It's kind of a given that this is going to be on the New York Times bestseller list, except for her. They can't stand her. And I think there's a growing recognition that she's boring, right? That she's just an ordinary, kind of less than ordinary individual. There's nothing interesting about her. But there is something fascinating at the same time in that I have busted her once again lying. And this is directly affecting my life, in that my good friend Bill Stevenson is in jail because of the Bidens. Now, a couple of things here. Let me see. What do we got there first? She's still bitter, totally bitter about losing that stupid bar in 1975. Can you imagine that? She's been everywhere. She's met popes, presidents, kings, queens, traveled around the world on Air Force One, lived in the White House for 4 years. And she's still upset about some stupid college bar from 50 years ago. Here she is in her own book saying it out loud. Let's see here. Cut 1, if you don't mind. This is the one that just came out. Cut 1.
When my first marriage ended in my mid-20s, I was thrown into a financial panic. I'd married at 18. I didn't have a career or even a college degree. My then husband owned a popular college bar that
Bill.
he held on to.
He held on to it.
I wound up with less than a quarter of what I imagined to be our shared money. I swore that I would never be in that vulnerable position again.
Oh, boy. It's just, look, just that it exists in the book tells me that She's bitter. Joe Biden is bitter. They didn't let it go. They can't let it go. All their possessions, all of their stuff, all of their access, all of their status, and they can't get over this stupid bar from 1974. Are you crazy? Are you crazy or what? Now, that just a couple of other little things here. I found out, again, I knew this, but it's great when I can share it with you. You know, sometimes you know things in your gut and you just know them. You know them. There's not always a piece of paper that says this happened. Sometimes you have to rely on people telling you it happened. And then you use your discernment, you use your experience. Well, now we have pieces of paper telling us that certain things happened. This is Jill Biden in another book that I think she forgot about. Okay, she forgot she wrote it. And when you don't tell the truth, well, it's very hard to remember what you say. If you tell the truth, you never have to remember what you say. You ever hear that one? Cut 2, if you don't mind. Cut 2.
How did you get this number? Those were the first words I spoke to Senator Joe Biden when he called me out of the blue on a lazy Saturday afternoon. It was March of 1975, and I had spent most of my morning running errands, so I wasn't expecting a call from anyone. Some people would have been excited to get a call from a senator. I was confused.
March of 1975. This is very critical. All right, very critical. She's making the date up. They may have gone on a date in March of 1975, but it wasn't when they actually met. And she's going to confess that here. She doesn't know she's confessing it. She does not know what I know, but I know that she knows, that Bill knows what really happened here, and now you do too. Here she is talking to, let me just, first listen to this. This is from that same old-timey book. Came out in like 2012. Cut 4, if you don't mind. Cut 4.
A couple of hours later, at 7 p.m. on the dot, Joe showed up at my door. He was 31 and wore a perfect suit and leather loafers. He looked so straight-laced that the first thought that popped into my head was, my God, what have I gotten myself into? The second was, oh, well, it's only one date.
Is that supposed to be cute or something like that? So the other fascinating thing for me is in March of 1975, Joe Biden is not 31 years old. He's 32.
Do you remember the first big thing you said?
What the hell was that? How do you get the age of your own husband wrong and write it in a book? All right, there's something really wrong with these people, and there's something very dishonest and a little bit corrupt about how they met. All right. Let me see here. Do me a favor. Okay, cut 5, if you don't mind. Cut 5.
The movie we decided to see, I think, was a French film called A Man and a Woman, which, strangely enough, is about a couple whose new relationship is complicated by memories of their spouses who have died.
So, okay, a couple of things happened there. The name of the movie and the rest, right? And what the movie was about and where they went. Here she is talking to Piers Morgan and telling the truth, okay? She's saying, she calls going out with Joe Biden a blind date. That ain't a blind date. It's not a blind date. Right here, she tells us it's not a blind date. Cut 3.
Fascinated by this story that he basically got his eyes on you when he saw a picture of you in an advertisement. Is this true?
Well, part of it is true. I had met him once before, and but we were in a crowd, and it was at a fundraiser, and so then I guess he saw my picture somewhere, and he said, oh, now that's the kind of girl I'd like to date. And I knew his brother, so his brother said, oh, I know her, because I was in college at the time, and his brother was there. And so Frank called me and or got my number, and Joe called and said, you know, this is Joe Biden, and would you like to go out? And
where was your first date?
We went to Philadelphia to the movies.
Do you remember the film?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. But then in the book, she says it's all about man and the woman, and she knew all about the plot. No, I don't. That's cognizance of guilt. Oh, I know her. See how she elevated their voice? Oh, like this is totally routine and not corrupt and not extramarital. Hey, by the way, I'm not like Mr. Pilgrim here, okay? Things happen. People make mistakes. This is not a reason in and of itself to hate the Bidens. However, when they use their animosity, when they weaponize it because of some stupid bar that she didn't get a piece of during the divorce, and they have him, they try to throw him in jail, and I believe he's in jail to this day as a result of all that stuff, we got a big problem. Chapter 1 of her brand new book. Looking at Joe, I could still see him in the handsome, slightly mischievous man with whom I'd gone on a blind date in 1975. Yeah, blind date. No, that's not a blind date. All right, one other thing here, all right? She said fundraiser. She didn't meet him at a fundraiser unless that was Bill Stevenson's fundraiser. Here's something else. Does this sound suspicious to you? Please, be honest with me. Here she is putting herself in the room with him 3 years prior, 1972, the night Joe Biden is elected to the Senate. Now, she was 21. What the hell would she be doing there? 21 years old. She was there because her husband, Bill Stevenson, was friends with Joe. All right, look, they're totally busted. Totally, completely. There are very few people who can really appreciate this, but the ramifications, and I'm taking a little bit of a liberty here because I want my friend out of jail. Bill Stevenson he could possibly die in that jail. It's a dangerous place. He's 77 years old, for crying out loud. Let him go.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Flippin was just giving me the skepticism of, was that fake news skepticism? No, it was reasonable. What the hell's your beef again with my friend Bill Stevenson?
No, I just was curious if you feel like the entire prosecutorial system and the law enforcement community, I mean, how deep do you think this potentially goes with Delaware and Bill Stevenson? It sounds like you're saying he's being unjustly accused and jailed.
Yes. It doesn't have to go that deep, all right? I mean, like the first level is corrupt, all right? The judge who presided over the hearing where they set bail, her name was Parker. She's married to a guy named Oberly, keeping their own names, you know? That's the Delaware way, too, I noticed. There's something about that.
Lucy Stoners, as they used to call them once upon a time.
What do you mean by that?
I think that, she was one of the early feminists involved in like the suffrage movement, and she advocated for women keeping their last name.
Yeah. Anyway, so she is, Oberly was the former U.S. attorney for Delaware, former state attorney general for Delaware. He ran for the U.S. Senate in Delaware, and guess who's his friend? Joe Biden. You can't be all those things in Delaware without having a close personal relationship with Joe Biden, and they did. And as a matter of fact, when that guy got his job as U.S. attorney, you know what Joe Biden said? I now have a partner in law enforcement. A partner in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. I thought they were supposed to be the people's lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. No. The other thing is the damned defense attorney by the name of Flockersy, his domestic partner, we can't figure out if they're married or whoever, the person who lives with him is a woman named Misty, and she is the chief of staff to the governor himself. The governor.
Bill Stevenson's defense attorney?
Bill Stevenson's defense attorney is Mr. Flockersy, who is in a domestic partnership with a woman named Misty Seaman, and Misty is the chief of staff to the governor of Delaware. That's a very high connection. I know this, that Joe called him on election night joking, everybody in Delaware is intimidated by the Bidens because it's such a small town, stupid place.
So, did Bill Stevenson hire that defense attorney, or is that like a court appointed?
Court appointed. So they found that guy. Now I'm a little bit, I don't know. I can't talk to Bill. He's in jail. So I can't talk to him.
You're not in touch with him at all.
Well, I have intermediaries. There are some intermediaries. You can only call so many people when you're in jail. They give you a list.
And they're
whatever.
still giving you a hard time on the FOIA or, trying to get any information.
I got somebody who's on top of that. All right. We're getting dribs and drabs.
Because we don't know anything about the allegation, right? I mean, he still hasn't faced a formal arraignment.
Dribs and drabs. We know the charge, but we don't have the indictment. We know the charge, first-degree murder, right? But that's like, I charged James Flippin with first-degree murder. That's it.
Oh, my.
Well, you did something probably along those lines. Any thoughts on the Knick game?
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, they just didn't play well. And if they made 1 or 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, they might have won.
I know they kept missing those things. They kept missing what I thought. Well, actually, I was surprised how many in the olden days. See, I don't watch basketball very often. 3-pointers were like desperation shots.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
And now it's like everyone's taking like right off the bat, they're going for the
Sometime
3-pointer.
over the last 10, 15 years, it became part of the strategy. They said, okay, well, the math says you might as well shoot as many 3-pointers as you can. And that's sort of an outcropping of the Golden State Warriors, and, it's become very in vogue.
So, I mean, every time somebody goes for the, a layup, when they go in there, it seems like, oh boy, he's only going to get 2 points.
Right,
you know what I mean? At best.
Yeah.
And then I think to myself, well, when I was playing basketball at CYO, Christian Youth Organization, we had something called traveling, right? These guys are all traveling.
Yeah, that's not policed as well as it should be either.
they're supposed to dribble, and then
Correct.
they're walking 5 steps.
Yeah.
I mean, this basketball.
They have the carry step or the gather step. I don't know. It's all kind of hard to follow.
I think they're kind of like overlooking the rules because, the rules made it not that great a game.
No, there's parts of it where I think it's not the worst thing in the world if you have some leeway with that third step or whatever. But, there's times. I watched last night definitely many, many times screaming when the Spurs had it. That's a travel, and it didn't seem to make a difference.
I wanted to know, since I last watched basketball, the white players have disappeared. I don't think there was one white guy last night. There's not one white guy on the court.
Well,
there is always a token white guy, or even a couple. Usually the
Spurs do have a bench player, Cornette.
That's
Luke
where
Cornette.
I mean, so there are no more white players. There's not one white player.
That's not true.
Is there any white player in this championship season who's on the court?
Well, again, Cornette plays some for the Spurs, and the Knicks have this guy Kolek, who's deep in the rotation.
I think I should conduct a civil rights march.
All right.
No, I mean it's a little.
Well, the Lakers' best player is white.
All right. No, I have no pride or this. I'm just look. I couldn't help but notice it.
Right.
I couldn't help but notice it. Just like I would have noticed all white guys if they were playing last night.
Well, I mean, with the NBA, it's basically all black and some white guys, not a ton of Asian guys. Some now coming.
Whatever happened to Jeremy Lin?
He was actually there last night. He was at the game
watching.
Yeah,
I saw those guys. Those they're not as cool as they think they are. Watching courtside, well,
they paid a lot to be there.
Larry David and that Timothy
Chalamet
wearing that. What was that? A costume? What the hell was he wearing?
Like an orange jacket.
He looked stupid. He looked silly. And then I have to say, whoever came up with the watch party outside for a basketball game, multiple locations.
Well, it started in a
city.
more organic way. I mean, it was just people that would line up outside of MSG and watch on the screens that they have there. And eventually the cops didn't want to do that as much because of the unruly nature of crowding along 7th Avenue. But then, of course, with the president there last night, they didn't do it.
You hear about this big baby, Scott Pelley? It's really funny the way this guy talks.
It is pretty funny. I liked it. You were going at him yesterday for his self-importance.
I know. I found a couple of more little items.
But they're all like that. They all, anytime any of them get fired or reassigned or whatever, it's the biggest crime against journalism of all time.
Yeah. Look, I understand if you want to cry if you lose your job. You know what I mean? That can be a very traumatic thing for anybody.
Emotional, whatever.
Yeah. But you know what? Be emotional at home.
True.
You got rooms in your house for this. You got
be a man. You're saying
you can act like a man. I mean, listen to this guy. Cut 13. Again, he's been with this one network longer than popes get to be pope.
Can I just say quickly before you play your cut, also that 60 Minutes is not this bastion of amazing journalism. I mean, once upon a time, I think it rose to that level.
It's just a TV show.
Yeah.
It's a television show.
And it's left of center.
Cut 13, please. The most pompous man in the world. Actually, he's just a big baby. Big baby. Cut 13.
We travel together. We dine together.
We dine.
We go into literal combat together. My former boss and former producer Bill Owens.
Oh my! Here he's going to cry.
Is that emotional?
Saved my life in a firefight.
Well, how did he do that?
In Iraq.
Stop! What did he get in the way of the bullet? What? How do you save your life in a firefight?
I mean, I guess you could have dragged him to safety.
I've been in a couple of those things. And I did drag somebody once to safety, actually. I did. I saved somebody's life, but I don't know. No. You're not going to challenge me on saving somebody's life? I thought you'd try to call the... Yeah, I did, actually.
No, I believe you.
Well, I mean, he was a little bit stunned, and I picked him up, and we ran off. You ever see that picture of me with all the blood on my face?
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
It's online.
Oh.
It's actually my screensaver. one of my computers. Keep going. Please.
We travel together.
Oh.
We
Was he
dine
done?
together.
Was he done finishing?
We go into literal combat
Stop this.
together.
Let's hear him just be... Oh, this is back when I actually watched the show. All right? In its glory days. You ready to hear it in its glory days? Cut 11.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Harry Reasoner.
I'm Ed Bradley.
I'm Steve Croft.
I'm Meredith Vieira. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
All right. Kick ass.
Yep.
I remember the show back then. I don't remember. Cecilia Vega is on the show? Who the hell's Cheryl Afonso? They think these people are somebody's?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember it as well probably during its heyday. But to me, it was sometime around the Bush era when it just really leaned in on being just a left-leaning news program.
So, Scott Pelley was the most biased guy in the world. He's complaining that there's a subtle shift toward Trump. He calls it subtle. He calls it what they're being asked to do, a subtle tip toward Trump. So he actually said that in that crazy interview we did.
Yeah.
Listen to him being over the top left. All right. This is just a little smidgen of Scott Pelley over the years. Cut 12.
Another blunder from the podium. White House errors of historic proportions.
John, the president's top priority failed today. The courts have knocked down his immigration ban, and the president can't seem to get out of his own way because of his penchant for falsehoods. President Trump drew an X today through the welcoming words of the nearby Statue of Liberty. President Trump called a hasty news conference and went on offense with the familiar tools that built his career: bluster, bravado, exaggeration, and a few loose facts. He's described the news media as the enemy of the American people. He has likened his own intelligence agencies to Nazis. And now we have the wiretapping charge against President Obama. Is it appropriate to ask whether the president is having difficulty with rationality?
They were.
Good line.
Good line.
It was kind of a burn.
It's a show off. I mean, it's like, no, when you're watching that, you're like, this guy's already made up his mind.
Well, yeah,
How does
of
he
course, though. But you're acting like surprised by that.
Well, not necessarily.
He works for CBS. Or, the CBS that's been around for a long time now.
Look, I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about Scott Pelley over the years. You know what I mean? So now that he's in the news and he's acting like this, bastion of fairness, and all of a sudden that this is a crime and he was murdered and my family was murdered and we're so, by the facts, to listen to that over the years is gratifying and entertaining. It's entertaining.
It is.
You can't be surprised by that. Well, I'm entertained by it.
You're entertained.
I'm entertained.
Are you not entertained?
I used to be entertained by you. Now you're growing on my nerves. You really are. You're pushing it. You're pushing it. You're pushing it. No, you're great. All right. Everything working out with the new crew?
I think so. Yeah, we're working out the kinks. It's interesting to be focusing on both the kind of national and then local side and the differences between them, and also how they cross over. The president being in town yesterday.
Well, welcome to them all. And the Worldwide News Network is really exciting. And all right, I'll let you go. Thank you very much. Oh, real quick, the astronauts who are going to space, I don't know if these names mean anything to you. Andre Douglas is going to space, to the moon. Frank Rubio is going to space. Luca Parmentano is going to space, and Randy Bresnan is going to space.
The commander.
As in, they're going to the moon, baby. They're going all the way to the moon, and they're going to walk around on it. Now, I don't know why there are no women on this list. They kept saying it's going to be the first woman. It's the first person of color. Well, they got the people of color, but they don't have the woman. I'm surprised. I don't really care, but I know that there are people who do care. And I don't know. I just don't know. You think there are going to be protests?
Over that?
First things first. No white people on the basketball teams.
Right, that's the most important
That's
thing.
more
Yes.
important. All right, we'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, just a couple of moments ago from President Trump, right on the Truth Social. This is important. Let's see here. I have just been informed by our great military that last night the Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters while patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured. Nevertheless, the United States must, out of necessity, respond to this attack. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Huh? How about that one? All right. He's fair warning, okay? We're coming. We're coming. You can't do that to us. You can't do it. You took out 2 pilots potentially, and they're safe and sound. I wonder how that happened. Strait of Hormuz. You know, a helicopter is not as durable as a plane. And if you shoot one down, well, a couple of things happen. Most of these missiles are heat-seeking missiles, so it would hone in on the engine. And even if the engine is taken out, the rotors could still be functional. And as you drop through the air, those rotors keep moving, almost like they're still being powered. It's called auto rotation, and it's actually pretty cool. So we have that. It sounds also, though, we're not going to go full nuclear. We're not going to go full, major combat operations here. It's going to be relatively, a little bit of a tit for tat. Our guys are alive, number one. We lost a helicopter. We're going to take out more of their stuff. We're going to do something. The thing that doesn't keep me up at night, but I'm sure it keeps President Trump up at night. I mean, in a weird way, why doesn't it keep me up at night? It's not my responsibility. I mean, I still worry, but the ships that are around there, the Strait of Hormuz, the ships are ships. They are big. They have defenses, but they also have human beings. And human beings are, sometimes they get sleepy. Sometimes they get distracted. I mean, today, now more than ever, people are just, imagine if your job is to be on watch. You got your radars and stuff like that, but you also have watchmen. You actually have people on the deck looking out at the water 24 hours a day. That has to get old in about 6 seconds. And I remember just a few years ago, we started to have in the military Navy ships colliding with each other all the time. There were like 4 collisions in 1 month. And I call it, that's DDI, digital dominance immersion. Because so many people out there, to some extent like me, but I try to fight it, at least I'm aware of it. You spend so much time on the phone. You spend more time on the phone than you do on the world. Does that make sense? You're actually looking, they used to say in the 90s, oh, that guy checks his email 13 times a day. He's very, very digital. He's very online. Now it's like you check reality 13 times a day. Your most of your waking hours are now looking at a screen. That has an effect on the readiness of our military. And our military ain't as ready as it used to be. It's just, it's not. In part because of the people. Because we're the people. People are great, but people are people. Elon Musk was right. The last airplane that we invented, we developed for our military, is the Joint Strike Fighter, the F-35. And probably the biggest mistake of that platform, that weapon, is that it has a seat, is that there's a chair, is that there is a space for a human being, a pilot. We are at the level where we don't need the pilots anymore. And, or we're also at the point where, 100 Joint Strike Fighters, fantastic. But what would be better? 10,000 drones, 10,000 smaller drones. They call it the drone swarm. There's only so much you could do with one airplane, even if it's great. I had a guy tell me a long time ago, the Russians, the MiG-29 was probably the best fighter plane ever built, right? Much better than the F-15 Eagle, which was our state-of-the-art plane for a long time. But we had like 3,000 of these F-15 Eagles, and they had about 20 MiG-29s. And even if it's like 10 times better, it can't shoot 10 times more jets down. Does that make sense? You need a lot of pretty good instead of a few excellent. Although we always pursue excellence, right? We always. All right. I think it's time. Hey, one little, did I play this? Yeah. Doesn't this sound a little bit suspicious? It's just suspicious. I think that they met each other on another occasion. Jill Biden talking about meeting the first Mrs. Biden on election night 1972. One more time, if you don't mind. Cut 7, please. Cut 7.
The black community helped make Joe Biden a winner.
In Delaware,
by less than 3,000 votes.
Whipped by 29-year-old Joseph Biden.
It was very close. People were still surprised, how this even happened.
All of you have done something that the political pundits said there was no way in the world it could be done.
That night, all the college kids were so excited. A lot of us went to the Hotel DuPont ballroom, and it was packed. And there was so much excitement in the air. I saw this woman coming through the crowd, and I realized that it was Nelia, Joe's wife. And so I walked up to her, and I shook her hand, and I said, congratulations on your win. And she said, thank you very much. And that was our exchange.
It sounds a little bit suspicious and fishy to me, because it is. It didn't happen that way. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?